Okay, so this is a real quick informational video to let you know what was covered in the last meeting about the French exchange program at Saline Middle School. So first off, we do have a web page and a Remind account. So this is kind of a small snapshot of what our web page looks like. This is the information to get there. So our web page is still under construction, but it is in working order. You can find it right here. The Remind account is right here. This is how we are going to be getting in touch with you as the year progresses and as more due dates are coming along and things are happening. This is how you're going to be updated about what's going on. So there is a text, a number right here, a message. So you're going to text at B6HGE to the number 81010, and that will cover you and get you signed up. So for the fall, this is the important information. So the hope is that we can bring the French students over in the fall, and if that happens, they will be here the 1st of October, the last week of October, and the first week of November. The French students will stay at your house for those 2 weeks. We will have meetings every week starting 2 weeks before school. The day is possibly going to be Tuesdays, but we're going to play with that and see what's available for everybody, what's the best day. This would be the best time for them to come if we could make it happen because of all the things that we can do with them. There's so many things, football games and bonfires and corn mazes, plus the week that they would be coming would be the week of Halloween, which is a big deal for them to come and see an American Halloween celebration. So that is one reason we would like to bring them in the fall. But it's not a for sure thing that they could come in the fall. Most of the time they do come in the spring. So if they end up coming in the spring, they would be here about mid-April. It would not be during our spring break. So we find out when our spring break is, and France figures out when theirs is, and then we make sure that the exchange program is not coming over during our spring break. They'd still stay for 2 weeks, but our meetings would start, and they would be about every other week starting in January. And then we just hope that the weather is nice and we can do more things outside. Okay, so the role of the parent and the family. Parents, you are required to help plan the activities and the events that the French students are going to be involved in. This includes potlucks, field trips, as well as the welcome and goodbye parties. Oops, not good parties. Goodbye parties. We do require that you take at least 1 day off of work to help with driving students around to the different activities. So because we're hoping to have a group of about 20 people, we will need about 3 or 4 parents when we have some of these field trips. We don't get buses because they're way too expensive, and we want to keep the costs down so that we can make this affordable so that lots of families can participate without having it be a financial struggle. So if you are someone that cannot take any work off, if you could even find like a family member who'd be able to drive somebody or drive the kids around from one activity to the next. Sometimes we need chaperones for the activities, and sometimes it's just you could just drop them off and then come back and pick them up later. It just depends on the activity. Families are responsible for paying for these activities. We end up taking all of the costs of everything, making it one lump sum, and then splitting it between the families. It's usually about $150 that covers the whole 2 weeks. You also are responsible for feeding them. So at your own house, you're feeding them and making sure that they have what they need. You have to have some place for them to sleep. You can use an air mattress if you like, or a pull-out bed, but they do need to have a room that they're going to be in. It does not have to be their own room, though. They actually prefer if you can host the student and have them sleep in the same room as your daughter or your son. There does tend to happen that a lot of these French classes that come over, they have more guys than they have girls, and we usually have the opposite. We usually have more girls than guys. So it is a possibility that you will be linked with a boy student, which is fine if you have a room with a son. If you have a daughter but you also have a son that the French student can stay with, and it's great. If you have a guest room, it doesn't really matter. That's great as well. There are places that you can check off, like boy only or girl only, on the application, but the more flexible you are, the easier we can find a class to stay with us. You are responsible for getting the French student to and from Saline Middle School when they are here, but that just means that they travel the same way that your own student travels. So whether your student walks to school or they ride the bus or you drive them, they come the same way your student does. So it's not anything extra for you to do. The role of the student, your student will be given short classes to help them work through how to handle having someone from another country living with them. We'll also discuss topics to go over when they contact their exchange student, because once we find out when the students come, and depends on if they're coming in the fall. If they're coming in the fall, we'll probably have students matched, families will be matched early September, and then you start contacting your exchange student right away with, Facebook or Instagram or emails or Skype, however you would like to. The meetings for students who want to actually travel to France won't actually start until later in the year. After we have our French students come over, the American students will have some small classes to teach them like some key phrases and how to handle situations when things happen over there, if things happen, and some key phrases to help them get through day-to-day life. So one big question that I would always ask is, what does it cost to go to France? It's about $2,500, but if you get your application in by June 16th, you get $100 off of that price, which, every $100 counts, so it'd be $2,400 instead. The reason why it costs so much is you still have to buy the plane ticket, and plane tickets are not cheap, especially since we will be traveling at the height of the season for going to Europe. So because of that, the prices are going to be fairly higher than what we would like to be costing you. So you can always have your kid babysit or mow lawns or ask grandma and grandpa instead of for a Christmas present, instead give them money towards the trip. There are ways to offset that price by having your student also go out and earn it a little bit more, plus then it's not just their trip. We do require that students keep in all of their classes, they need to keep C's or higher in all of their classes. When they come to the meetings, they will actually have to bring out a printout of their grades to show that they are staying up above that C average across all of classes, not just French. Even if they're not taking French at that point, especially sixth graders, that's okay. If they do not have C's across the board, then they will not go. And it has happened before that a student did not stay on top of their studies, and they weren't able to go. They had paid for it and everything, and they weren't able to go because of their grades. So we do require that students keep on their studies all throughout the school year so that they can ensure that they can go to France in the summer. That is about it that we covered. If you have extra questions, there are questions, frequently asked questions on the website. You can also email myself, Andrea Zapor, and I will get back to you as well about anything that you have a question on. We are super excited about this program, and we would like to have at least 20 families to host students. You do not have to travel. You can just host if you want to. All of the documents are on the webpage, so you can get a copy of any of the applications right off the webpage. And the next meeting will be in early June, so that we can get people their information and get applications filled out and get things turned in and make sure we have everyone's contact information for the summer. So if you have more questions or concerns, or you just need to talk about it, email me or call my school phone number either at the high school or at the middle school. Thank you.